Welcome back to Black Enterprises Inside the Studio. I'm your host, Jeroslyn Jovan. Today we're going inside the new psychological thriller, Blink Twice, serving as the directorial debut of Zoë Kravitz. The film follows what happens when one vulnerable cocktail waitress becomes infatuated with a billionaire tech mogul and travels with him to his private island for a luxurious party where things begin to go left after her friend vanishes. I had the pleasure of chatting with members of the cast about the movie's gory symbolism, themes of girl power, and how Zoe did as a director working alongside her real life beau, Channing Tatum, who explains why the question, "Are you having a good time?" takes on a whole new meaning after watching this gory film. Join me in welcoming director Zoë Kravitz, star and producer Channing Tatum, as well as film stars Naomi Ackie, Christian Slater, Simon Rex, and Alia Shawkat. So, are we having a good time?
I was about to say it without even meaning to. Yeah,
right. Like I would always say that normally to just start a conversation,
right,
but it just means something different now.
It almost gets me every time when someone says it. And I agree.
I'm having it.
They mean it that way, right? So
and I have to remember it.
You have,
you
said it so many times.
You have like your choice. So the movie's a lot. It's Zoe's her directorial debut. How'd she do?
Wicked.
She's all right for being a girl, I guess.
Right. No bias. I get it.
No, she kills it, man. Yeah. I'm still truly. I mean, and not just because I have to. I'm in awe of her every day.
Yeah.
And she's relentless. She's still working on this movie in a way. Even and how. I've went to a lot of premieres, went to a lot of after parties of the premieres. Zoe went to the after party and made sure that it wasn't decorated horribly.
No, she did not.
Yeah. She did. She got the pictures of what the furniture they were going to use. She's like, "What is that? What is that? Where do you even get something like this?"
Oh my god!
And so she went and literally made sure that it was all sorted out.
It was funny. It looked really good.
And that's definitely a play in the film, your character, particularly with the furniture thing.
Yeah.
So you play Slater, you play Frida. Yeah. This is for both of you. What would you say is Frida's weakness and strength, and how did Slater kind of take advantage of that?
That's a good question. It might be too good. Okay, I think her strength and her weakness in the same token is that she is she's very watchful of people, and that observational skill of being able to see things for what they are means that you can either use that to connect people and stuff, or it could be to be potentially manipulative. In this token, she has something that she really wants. She wants to get close, as close as she can to Slater King, but more wider than that, as close as she can to power. And that desire leaves you open to be manipulated in return.
Right. And so how does Slater use this to his advantage?
I think Slater's really clear on that everybody wants something. Everybody's wanting. Nobody is ever just good and happy with what they. Every person on that island is there for a reason. Some of them aren't there just to have a good time. They're all sort of kind of. There's other things happening underneath everybody's presenting self, and I don't know if he's. I think at a certain point, definitely he was absolutely manipulating that and using that knowledge and that want of people to get them to do whatever he wants. But I think he's kind of off the reservation now.
Yeah.
He's not.
Just a little bit.
He doesn't care about that anymore. He's just it's not a factor.
Right.
Yeah.
What intrigued you about this, and in general, everyone, what is it about thrillers and this thriller in particular that audiences are going to get from?
Wanna start?
Sure. I mean, I like being a part of thrillers and watching them because I think it, in a way, is mirroring the collective anxiety we all have in life. you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's a good way to watch it in an entertaining form where you're like, I'm not crazy because I can feel it in this hour and a half air conditioned room and kind of just like get through it, and you kind of feel some weird release. I feel like that's why we're all drawn to watching stuff that makes us feel something.
And there is a gaslighting aspect to it as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like you think
Like
you're
in
being
life.
told one thing exactly, and that's
Yeah.
kind of like what we've been going through.
Can I say one?
Yes, please.
I feel like we've been living collectively in the twilight zone for the last few years.
Yes.
To make something like this that's weirder or as weird as real life is actually really hard to do.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a strange time to put
Real
out certain.
challenge.
So like
And
this.
real artists do that, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think Zoe did it, and she made something that is just as bizarre and parallel to what we're all already experiencing, which is like
in an
what's going on?
isolated
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of weird stuff
Perfectly
going on.
worded.
Yeah,
No,
like, we're
literally.
having fun, but are we?
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's literally how I felt watching
Yeah.
it. I was like, I'm having fun. Wait, am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, with
Like,
a
oh my God,
sense
what's
of
up? It's
underlying
This is
anxiety.
weird fun.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but no, the movie's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned Zoe. What would you say? Like, this is her directorial debut.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say? How'd she do?
Amazing. She
Killed
hit it
it.
out of the
A
park.
plus.
Yeah, I don't
She's
think you can do
incredible.
any
Natural.
better.
Yeah, she
It's
nailed
not
it.
easy to do. I mean,
Yeah.
that is the thing. Like when you'll get a script and it'll be like, oh, it's a first-time filmmaker. Normally, you may say, okay, well, let's talk about this. But with Zoe, it was a no-brainer. It was like, of
That's
course you're gonna
incredible.
do
And
it.
also for a studio movie, big movie, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Right.
Like usually everyone does like a short film
Right.
that they're like no one sees, and then they're like, okay, now I'm ready. But
Yeah.
Zoe was like, no, I got this.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think this film in particular shows about the public intrigue of the rich taking advantage of the working class? Mm-hmm. What do you think?
That's a part of it. There's a lot of things they're touched on in this. A lot of power dynamics. It's
That abuse of power.
the abuse of
Absolutely.
I
power.
think
Yes.
nowadays too, there's so much fantasy, especially like on social media.
Yes.
Which I think that opening scene of her is so good. You seeing her eyes taking in. You know, we have this idea of what the world looks like
Yeah.
Yes.
when you have a lot of money and you think it's happiness, and
Ooh,
the reality
You
ain't
see
good.
that on Instagram,
Yes.
and you look at everybody's life and the
Yes.
pictures
You feel
that they
like
post.
crap about
and,
yours.
And you, again, it's gaslighting.
Comparison is
Yeah.
the thief of joy. What are we all doing anyway? Huh? I'm out of here.
Listen,
Whoa!
symbolism, a lot of symbolism throughout the
Comparison is
film.
the thief of joy.
Beautiful.
That's worthy.
That's also
That's
tattooed on my back.
great.
Yeah.
Look
I
at
didn't
everybody
make
in the
that
room.
up. I'm just repeating something.
Everybody in the room is freaking
Yeah, everyone's
out.
crying. Everyone left.
Yeah.
A lot of symbolism in the film. When
Yeah.
it comes to symbolism, let's say randomly snakes. I googled, the symbolism of snakes, and it says they represent the dark and light aspects of life.
Beautiful.
How would you say that relates to the symbolism snakes could play in Blink Twice?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, there is, I feel like this is, there is some, we talked about this earlier, there's sort of the suppression of memories, and that's some Carl Jungian psychology where you're dealing with this might be a little deep, but you're dealing with the shadow psychologically.
Which is all about dark and
Right,
light.
which is
yeah.
all about the dark and the light, and how I think so many people go attract to the light instead of facing their own darkness, which is, that's the real scary stuff, is
Yes.
to
And
go into the
heal.
cave and the abyss of what scares you is where the real work is, instead of just going. So I think that element makes sense, but that might be me overthinking and sounding pretentious. I don't know.
No, that's true.
No, it sounds amazing because that's
Okay.
exactly that's a perfect answer.
That's it.
So, are you having a good time?
Yes, but actually.
right. Because oh my gosh, now that's gonna mean something different to me. Now,
I know. I
after
had
seeing
a
this
friend
film.
that said I can't ask anyone that question anymore.
Right. So this is your directorial debut.
Yeah.
What was it like?
It's like everything. And not like it's everything, but like literally everything, like every emotion under the sun. Fun, terrifying, scary, exhausting, exhilarating, nerve-wracking, vulnerable, brave, all of it. It's like it's every feeling.
Everyone's saying you did a good job.
I'm sure some people won't say that, but I appreciate the people who do.
Well, what would you say is your directing style?
That's a good question. I feel like I do know what I want, but I'm always digging for more. Like right up until the thing is pried out of my hands, I'm still trying to figure it out. And I feel like the biggest lesson I learned is that art is its own living entity. And if you try and tell it what it's supposed to be, that's when it doesn't go well.
Wow.
But when you let it show you what it wants to be, it's a pretty amazing experience.
That's amazing. I mean, we've known you for so long as an actress. It's still art.
during that process, during this time, like how long did you know, like, I want to direct? And then why was now the time?
I've always known and kind of said it in passing, but I think it was almost too scary to really say, this is something I'm going to do one day. It was just something I was like, oh yeah, like one day I'll do that, you know? And then when this story came out and the script was done, I just thought, okay, I see this so clearly in my mind. It's so personal. It's such a strange and wild tone. I don't know who else can do this but me. So I guess now's the time.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, it's a pretty wild movie, and it's from you. So what would you say, how does this movie relate to you personally?
I mean, the whole thing is about, you know, the female experience, you know, and how we are asked to smile through our pain and forget and act like we don't remember. And the way that we have to communicate without speaking, you know, I really wanted to find a way to maybe show other people that don't have that experience what it feels like.
Everyone did an amazing job, such great performances. I mean, there's someone who stars in the movie, I don't know if you know him. He did really good.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What was it like working with him? I mean, for me, I'm married. I mean, you know, we work together daily because we're married. But what would you say in regards to like a real job? Like, what's it like working with a spouse?
I dug it, you know what I mean? I really did. I think that art is our love language, and we love talking about film and storytelling, and it felt really safe, and he supported the shit out of me. He was like so amazing. And I think the same for him, and it's, you know, especially when you're working on something like a story like this that's pretty vulnerable, it's very important that you have trust and that you feel safe. And, you know, who do you trust more than your partner? Hopefully.
Right. Especially if you have a good man.
Yeah.
I have one, so I can relate.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure. This is a great film. Everybody,
Thanks.
you're going to feel a lot. I don't want to, because I don't want to spoil it. You're going to feel a lot, but it's all good things.